We're live.
All right, I'll call this June 18th meeting of Marysville Council to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
With liberty and justice for all.
All right, if we can get a roll call.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Here.
Mr. Holchevsky,
Here.
Mr. Diakopoulos,
Here.
Mr. Dice, Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Mrs. Ling,
Present.
Mr. Lemak,
Here.
Mayor Sinan.
Here.
We'll move to consent, or is there any unlisted amendments?
There are none this evening.
None? Okay. We'll move on to consent calendar items. The approval of the June 5th minutes, the accounts payable, and the cash investment and transfers. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve item number 4, A through C, in consent calendar.
Second. The mayor?
Oh, we need to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, comments by the mayor.
Thanks,
Mayor
Mr.
Simon?
McKenna. First slide coming up is Murraysville Farmers Market continues on Thursday from 3 to 7 down there in front of Medic 1, Murraysville Fire Station. Live music, weekly food trucks, local vendors, and more. June 6th, and it continues through September 26th. Next, we have Tuesday at Townsend, save the date, free live performance in the park, 6:30 to 8. The next one is June 25th. As you know, like I said, they're held at Townsend. There's two more, July 9th, 23rd. Lastly, there's no slide, but as you know, we were hit pretty hard with a storm last night and again today. I hear every once in a while, well, the Public Works doesn't clean it up fast enough. Well, the only reason they don't clean it up fast enough is because if there's an electric wire touching it, they are not permitted to touch it whatsoever until the electric wire is turned off or removed. In addition, they said, well, maybe the firemen, no, the firemen, the EMS, police are not allowed to touch it either. In fact, it was almost miraculous how fast they had some of the roads open this afternoon in like 2.5 hours. And I mean, they were moving some serious lumber with equipment. And but a couple of them, I'm not sure, when I checked with them last at 6 o'clock, there were still a couple places where West Penn hadn't showed up yet. So I want to thank all of them for all their efforts the last 2 days. Hopefully it'll go away now for a week. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Nessica?
Sure, I'll give a few updates here within the community. Just for everybody to be aware, there will be overnight road repairs being done by People's Gas on Old William Penn between Sardis and North Hills Road. That will be occurring from Wednesday evening to Friday. So only in the evenings, but just to be aware, that's where they have that area torn up right now, down by Ferry's Pharmacy. Another update, just so that everybody is aware, Chief Seafeld is retiring at the end of the month, as we know, and the swearing in for Tom Kaczynski and Dave Coleman will be on Monday, July 1st at 10:30 a.m., I believe, Mayor. So just to make everybody aware on council.
What was the date of that, Mike?
Monday, July 1st at 10:30 a.m. Additionally, we have our new code officer starting on Monday, this coming Monday, the 24th. So there are quite a few calls that we've been receiving from the community regarding high grass, weeds, that sort of thing. This individual will be coming in. She starts on Monday. She was previously, she was a code officer in her previous municipality, so she comes in with some experience, so we're looking forward to that, and hopefully she can hit the ground running, trying to address some of the complaints that have been building up. To those folks in the community that have been letting us know of issues, we are going to address them. We're working on it, but it's been a slow process without having that individual in place, so hopefully things will start to get squared away here relating to code enforcement in the very near future. And then lastly, one large item to just make council and the community aware of. The traffic signal at Route 380 and Salzburg Road is now in operation. It's operational in a temporary capacity as they still have to iron out some things before it becomes permanent. That signal is considered a continuous green T. The only other location in the area that has a continuous green T is located at the Donegal Turnpike interchange, if you're familiar with driving through there, where the outside lane continues and typically has a green light at all times. And the folks that are coming onto the roadway, in this case from Salzburg Road, they would stop at the traffic signal, and then once they receive a green light, they would proceed and merge in with the existing traffic that's going northbound on 380. There have been some complaints coming into the municipality. I think folks need to obviously become acclimated and adapt to the new signal. It is a bit of a change. PennDOT approved this signal type because of the nature of that intersection, the speed on the roadway, sight distances, stopping distances, things like that. So without getting deep into the technicalities of it, this was the type of intersection that PennDOT approved and believes is warranted there in that location. So it is going to take a little bit of adjusting from our community and the neighboring communities that use that roadway. We are aware that some folks have been making complaints. I believe the light's not functioning properly. Again, I think a lot of it deals with the unfamiliarity of getting a green light and then turning into traffic that also seemingly has a green light as well. So a little bit of adjusting on behalf of the community, but I think it will all work out. From everything we've seen, it does seem to make the most sense, just again, based on all of the different circumstances in that area, sight distance and speed and things like that. So I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, but that was kind of the summary version of the new signal and how things have been going so far for the last week or two. So other than that, no other input for this evening.
All right, thanks, Mike. We're excited for that code enforcement officer to start. Thank you to Mike and all his staff for, they've been kind of fielding all that stuff, so it'll be good to have that finally filled. I did want to say real quickly, too, because we won't have a meeting before then, huge thanks to Chief Seafeld. I mean, we have been absolutely blessed with one of the best chiefs anyone could ever ask for. So just on behalf of, I'm sure I can speak for all of us of council, thank you for all your service. It's been fantastic. Enjoy your retirement. Okay, move on to community input. Nothing for community input.
No community.
Liaison comments and committee reports. Start down here with Eli.
Not till August.
Okay.
for pension. Mine will be next week for Action Committee, Environmental Action Committee.
The last planning commission meeting was supposed to be held on the 11th. There was no quorum, so no business was officially conducted.
Okay.
The Murraysville Parks and Recreation Foundation met this past Monday. The items that were discussed was this: concert in the park sponsorships are being received. As far as the officers, the election of Nick Subich for president and Abby Viragova as vice president. The Stroll magazine, Carly, will meet to discuss advertising for the foundation on the 25th of June. Tuesdays and Tuesdays at Townsend, very well attended. Foundation had a booth there, a tent, if you will, and with a donation jar, and things went well. Also, there's going to be a participation by the foundation on July 14th. There's a 5K centered around the community facility, and it's the Westmoreland Heritage Trail. And we will be there active and telling our story and soliciting donations. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Carl. Parks and Recreation did meet last Tuesday. I was unfortunately out of town for work, but the biggest things are the Tuesdays at Townsend, which is all listed on the website. Please just look at those dates, and it's been a great event, and we're excited for the rest of them this summer, and then the concert in the park as well. I know those are the two big things they're working on, so I'll fill everyone in once I get an update on it. All right, I guess we move on to our workshop items. Administration, engineering, community development, public works. Does not look like we have anything. So that moves us to our council action items. Under 13A, can I get a motion?
Motion to advertise the fee ordinance number 1089-24, the fee ordinance, Chapter 112-6, an ordinance amending existing fee ordinance number 1074-23.
Second.
We'll go Carl and Jamie. Thank you. Michael?
Sure, yes. This one, and I can certainly turn it over to the solicitor if he wants to provide additional feedback, but this item in conjunction with 13B are essentially an update to the solicitation ordinance. We wanted to adjust the fees for soliciting to ensure that they're in compliance with all state and federal laws. In addition, as I mentioned with 13B, we want to adjust a few things out of the solicitation ordinance. I can turn it over to Wes. He can maybe elaborate a little bit further if he doesn't mind.
Yes, if it please council and the mayor, we were contacted by council for companies and entities that were considering challenging our solicitation ordinance because of the way that it is written. So what we have undertaken is a review of that ordinance to see if the ordinance is fine as it is or if it needs modification. And Mr. Nestico and I are working with outside counsel regarding those matters to see if we can come to an agreement as to whether or not our solicitation ordinance needs modified, and if it does need to be modified, in what manner and fashion. So we are looking at the ordinance itself and also the fee schedule that is 13A. And we have solicited, or rather we have made some modifications to our ordinance and sent it to, let's say, opposing counsel, but we have not heard back from them. Opposing counsel is out of Dallas, Texas.
That solicitation ordinance, is that just the door-to-door, or does that include like food trucks, things like that? Because I notice people have that at certain events. Where does that fall in?
This would be door-to-door solicitation.
Door-to-door solicitation. Okay.
Food trucks, activities conducted by the school, certain charitable and religious entities, and things of that sort are exempt
Right.
under the provisions of the existing ordinance, and we're not proposing to make any modifications to that. It's generally going to be focused on the issuance of corporate permits and the hours that solicitation is prohibited. We have extensive do not knock provisions in our ordinance. I think those are going to be okay, but we're still in the process of going back and forth.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from council?
Nope.
No questions? Okay, we'll vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Move on to 13B. Can I get a motion?
Motion to advertise ordinance number 1090-24, the solicitation ordinance, amending Chapter 169, peddling and soliciting, prescribing regulations for peddling and soliciting, providing for exemptions hereto, providing for license permitting of persons engaged in such activities, setting certain limitations on such activities, establishing a no soliciting or peddling list, and establishing penalties for violations of this ordinance.
Second the motion.
All right, thank you, Jamie and Jason. Mr. Nestica?
Again, this is in conjunction with what the solicitor had just mentioned for item 13A.
Yep.
Again, just for clarification, for council's purpose and for the public, the reason why it's broken out into two different sections, the solicitation ordinance itself provides all the regulations as it relates to soliciting, but then the fees are set by the previous item, the fee ordinance. So this is just going to address potentially the hours that solicitation may occur in the community.
For the good of the order, any questions from council in regards to that? Okay, we'll vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Can I get a motion for 13C?
Yeah, motion to advertise for a vacancy on the zoning hearing board.
Second the motion.
All right, thank you, Eli and Carl. Mr. Nestica?
Yep, pretty straightforward. If you recall, last month we accepted the resignation of Greg Hamill from the Zoning Hearing Board, so we do have a vacancy. The municipal code requires us to advertise vacancies for boards and commissions. We would like to advertise this vacancy and also express to council and the community that if anyone does have interest in the Zoning Hearing Board, please submit a letter of interest in that position. From what I understand, we have typically had a difficult time filling positions on the Zoning Hearing Board. So hopefully that's not the case, but we do want to get the advertisement out there and see if we can find any interested folks that would be willing to serve. So if you know anybody or if anyone in the community does have an interest, they can certainly inquire as to what the Zoning Hearing Board entails, and we'd be happy to talk with them and see if they would want to submit a letter of interest.
Mike, is that a 5 or 7 person board? Like
It is.
full?
I believe it is.
I believe it's 3.
I think it's 3. Yes. I think
Oh,
it is
really?
3,
Okay.
Yeah. Which is why it's somewhat vital to have
Yeah.
someone appointed.
That takes us to 2.
Yeah, we're down to 2, and if somebody can't make it,
Right.
can't have a meeting. If they can't agree on something, we don't have a decision. So
Okay.
it is 3, and it's imperative that we get it filled. So,
Yeah.
so that's what this item is.
Can you speak to how often, I know I'm putting you on the spot, Michael, but how often do they meet?
Not regularly. I would say the Zoning Hearing Board may meet occasionally, several times a year. So
Not set, not one.
it's not set, and it only comes about when there are zoning matters. I would say a handful of times each year, 3 or 4 maybe at the most. And sometimes it's as little as even 1 or 2 times in a year. So it varies. It depends on the zoning issues in the community that need to come before the board, and then certainly how elaborate those issues are if they have to reconvene or anything like that. But typically, it's only a few meetings a year. So it's
Question, Michael, are the members of the zoning board, are they bonded?
I don't believe that they are bonded. No.
No.
I would not think they are, Mr. Stepanovich, because they're not handling revenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that historically, the individuals on that board have had some form of a professional background. We've had attorneys, engineers, architects, things like that. But certainly anybody can qualify. But we have had a lot of professional folks that have historically filled that position for whatever that may be worth to council.
Do we have any interested parties?
Not at this point, and again, I think once we advertise, then we may find out if folks are interested, but at this point, unless anybody saw the last council meeting and the resignation, they probably wouldn't be aware that the opening exists.
Right. Yeah, and Jason, I think too, they, a lot of times if they have multiple things, they'll do them on just one meeting and
Sure.
listen to more than one.
And how do you advertise it?
We'll put it in the Penn Franklin. We put it on the website. Social media, we can always notify the public, and then typically word of mouth. We could advertise it in the Trib, but I think historically we've probably found that doesn't reach the reach our audience within the community. Usually word of mouth is the best way. If folks want to become involved or they have an interest, bless you, if they have an interest on the various boards within the community, typically those are the folks that would be interested in something like the zoning hearing board. So we'll start with an advertisement in the Penn Franklin and word of mouth, social media, et cetera. If we don't find anybody there, then we can always broaden the advertisement or our search for an individual. Well,
All right. We're going to vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes to advertise for that. Nothing under community development, engineering, 15A. Can I get a motion?
Motion to award the contract for DPW-3-24 2024 chip seal project to Russell Standard Corporation in the amount not to exceed $179,800.
Second motion.
We'll go Jamie and Eli. Thank you. Oh, that was Jeff. That was Matt, sorry. Jamie and Matt. Sounded like Eli.
The chair, Matt.
This is for the chip seal project for this summer. We had 2 bidders. Russell Standard, as listed in the motion, was the low bidder, $179,800. The next lowest bidder was very close, Midland Asphalt, with a $182,000 bid. So, being that this is the low bidder, I ask council to award the contract. This item was budgeted out of the capital reserve in the amount of $235,000, so it's coming in under the anticipated budget amount. And it is expected that the municipality will use the remaining budget funds through Public Works to prepare all the roads for the treatment. So, any other questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions from council? All right, we'll vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Nothing under Public Works and Parks. Old business? New business? Executive session? None tonight. Action items? One more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Jamie and Matt.
Or Jeff, any other way.
Okay, meeting adjourned.